Oh, I remember the Excelsior thing. Hold it against People always ask me, why do you use the word? I used to write all these columns and editorials and things in the comics, and I'd end up with silly expressions that I had, like I'd end a column with "nuff said," or "hang loose," or "face front," or any silly things. But I found that the competition was starting to use all the expressions I had used. I didn't like that. So I said, I've got to find something that they won't know how to spell it and they won't know what it means. And that's the reason I came up with Excelsior. And DC still hasn't gotten around to using it. Now, I'm sorry, somebody there was going to say something.
I was just wondering how best a fan could show you how much your work means to them and maybe stand out to you.
You don't have to whisper it, it's not a secret. The best way a fan can, to me? Oh, just by being here and being so nice and buying everything I ever write or do. That's the kind of question I like. It's to sell things. Thank you.
All the way in the back of the house.
A girl who wanted me to autograph a certain part of her anatomy. You never disappoint a fan. It was a good thing.
Right here.
First of all, thanks for your imagination. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for your existence. What artists that you've ever worked with or had the pleasure of just reading their comic book, what artists would crush you most, and are you a Yankees or Mets fan?
There's an artist I just met, and I forgot his name. Oh, damn. Bowen, is there a... Bowen, his last name? No, that's not him. He's out there with, he draws the sexiest girls, and he does a lot of stuff for Marvel. And
J. Scott Campbell.
J. Scott Campbell is the other one. There were two of them. J. Scott Campbell did a great poster, and he and I are going to work on some stuff together.
Oh, Greg Horn.
Greg Horn. I just met Greg. J. Scott I know. And the two of them, I think... See, my problem is I don't really read the comics anymore. I don't have time to. And we're using... Years ago, I knew every artist and writer and letterer and colorist in the business and editor. I don't know any of them now. Sometimes somebody will show me a new magazine, whether Marvel or someone else's, and I look at the cover, and there are the names of all the people who worked on them. I don't know one name. They're all new. And then I look through the magazine, and the artwork is gorgeous, and I hate myself for not knowing these people. So what was the name of the guy I just
Greg Horn.
Greg Horn. I happened to see something he had done, and he's working on something that is a presentation for something that I'm working on. And I can't say any more about it. So I was very thrilled that he's doing that. And J. Scott Campbell, it's a funny thing, there's an illustrator who used to work for either Esquire or Playboy, I don't remember, two gorgeous girls. And his name was E. Sims Campbell. And I kept getting J. Scott Campbell mixed up with E. Sims Campbell. And I told J. Scott Campbell about E. Sims Campbell, and I told J. Scott Campbell to look up E. Sims Campbell and Google him and learn about him. And how did I get into that? Anyway, so those, I don't remember what the question was, but those two guys are real good.
Yankees or Mets?
Pardon me?
Yankees or Mets?
Yankees or Mets?
Yeah.
Yankees, of course. What a silly question. I'll tell you a funny thing about that. Years ago, I was too busy really to follow sports. So when I was writing the comics, I had so many things to write. So I didn't know what was going on in the World Series or anything for a while. I just didn't have time. And I get into a cab, and I learned how to talk to people without saying anything. I'm going to teach you this little lesson if it ever happens to you. The cab driver would say something. The minute you get in the cab, "Hey, what do you think of them Yanks?" I didn't know what he was talking about. But I had to answer him, so I'd say, "Man, wasn't that something?" And then he'd say, "And how about," and he'd name some player who did something, and I go, "Boy, you can say that again." All through the ride, we'd have a conversation. When I'm saying things like, "You know it, buddy." Yeah. And they thought I was a big sport fan. And I think what this proves, I am probably the biggest phony that I've ever. But I got such a kick out of it. You have a whole conversation with the guy without saying anything. Sorry about that.
Is there any chance that he wants to be a superhero would come back?
No, I don't think so. It didn't do that well. And then they tried it in England. They tried it with teenagers. The same show, and it didn't do well either there. So there's something about it. But don't worry about it, because Stan Lee's Superhumans more than makes up for it.
Right in front of the...
What's it like seeing your creations being made in the live action movies?
I heard live action.
What's it like seeing your creations being...
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, the best part about it, the guys making the movies do all the work, and I get a lot of credit. But no, it's terrific. I love going to them, and I love doing the cameos. Where do you see the Thor cameo? And I'm supposed to do the Spider-Man cameo in another week or two, and they just called and said that the Captain America cameo will be ready for me soon. I hope they have me playing a guy who's a hero on Captain America's team fighting. I somehow think that isn't what they have in mind.
Right here. Sorry, the booming voice.
What did you think of the Spider-Man musical?
The Spider-Man musical.
Who saw it in here? You did. What did you think of it?
Visually amazing, plot. But it's amazing to see. I'll go see it again.
Well, I had seen a rehearsal. I was in New York, and they invited me to rehearsal about 2 months ago. And I must say, what I saw in the rehearsal was wonderful. You know, there were just a few minutes of it, the scenes, and it looked fantastic. The critics have not loved it. But, you know, they're still working on it, and they're rewriting it, and I have a feeling with all the money that they've invested so far, they're not going to let it not go forth and be a hit. They'll find some way to make it good.
Put the glasses on here. Yes.
I'm actually speaking on behalf of my girlfriend. She loves you, and I just wanted to let you know that. You're losing her. Too.
You could all hear that, and I can't.
In the nicest way, he was telling you his girlfriend loves you.
As we just said. Well, thank you very much. Where is she? Let me see her.
She's at work, unfortunately.
Oh,
so
my luck, I get you. Anyway, give her my regards.
With the hat back.
Okay, well, you just autographed the first issue of The Traveler for me yesterday, but I noticed it, like I got that one and a couple of the other new ones from Boom Studios. I was disappointed because it said you were the Grand Poobah, but you didn't write it. Are you going to do any more writing?
It's from Boom, right?
Yeah.
So you got some of the titles from Boom. It says inside your Grand Poobah, but you notice that you didn't write it. Are you actually going to write any of them?
No. A big question like that, and the answer is no.
Okay, right there. So, yes. You can step. Yeah, no, both of you. One at a time.
I want to say it's an honor to talk to you, first of all. When you were working with Jack Kirby, how did you convey what you had on paper to him to get him to make it look the right way? Did you guys see eye to eye?
When I worked with Jack Kirby, how did I convey? And then you lost
Convey
me.
what you had in your script to Jack to illustrate.
Well, the way Jack and I worked, it was called the Marvel Method, because we invented it. I would just tell him what I wanted the story to be. Let's say it was a Fantastic Four story. I'd say, hey, Jack, it would be great if Submariner comes up to the surface, sees Sue Storm, and falls in love with her, and he kidnaps her and brings her down to Atlantis because he wants to make her his queen. And the Fantastic Four have to go down to rescue her. And I wouldn't say much more than that. And Jack would draw the whole thing any way he wanted. He'd usually throw in 100 ideas I never would have thought of. Then I'd get the artwork. And it was great for me because it was almost like doing a crossword puzzle. Half of the time I had no idea what the hell Jack was doing there. But I had to make a real good story out of it. And the drawings were so good. And it was so easy. So I had the fun of taking those drawings and putting in the dialogue and the captions. And I had my own system. If a drawing, if one of the panels didn't have much action or anything in it, I try to put in a lot of dialogue balloons or captions or sound effects. When he had a panel that was really great to look at, I put in almost no dialogue. I wanted to give the illustration all the reader's attention. And I would always indicate where the balloons were. I was a fanatic about it. The letter, I had to put the balloon exactly where I wanted it. Because to me, in a comic book, the placing of the balloons is a part of the artwork. It's a part of the decoration of the panel. So Jack really created a lot of the incidents in the story. He made up a lot of them. The general idea of the story was mine. What I wanted, the broad outline of the story was mine. But Jack did it the way he wanted, and then I would put in the dialogue. I very often introduced thoughts that were not originally in the story. I played with it. And I did that with all the artists. I was so lucky. I had artists who were also great storytellers. They were great visual storytellers. They should have all been doing Hollywood storyboards. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but that's the way it was, and I loved working with them that way.
Mr. Lee, I gotta say, with great power comes great responsibility. It's probably one of the most amazing things ever created, as far as superheroes and philosophy. And I really gotta know, how did you come up with that? I mean, with the inherent ability of it, like, where did that come from?
You know what's frustrating to me? I heard everything you said except the key word. You said something is, and then you said, how did you come up with it? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the something was that you said.
Talking about in general?
With great power, with great responsibility.
Oh, I didn't realize it was going to be an expression that people would remember. I don't know. It was just part of what I was writing. I thought it was a nice caption to put in. I didn't give it a second thought. It's funny because I got a call a few years ago from the guy who's the Attorney General of the state of Rhode Island. And he wanted me to come to Rhode Island because he was opening up his new office. He wanted me to be there because he had a plaque on his door that said, with great power comes great responsibility. And people do quote that a lot, and I get a kick out of it, but to me it was just another thing I was writing. I didn't think that much of it at the time.
All the way there with the thing on your arm. Yep, you.
What?
Will Stan kiss a puppy?
I love puppies, but I don't go around kissing them.
Yes, that's right.
Is there any specific superhero that hasn't been made yet that you would like to see made into a live action movie?
Any character not made into a movie yet of yours that you'd like to see?
Oh, yeah, quite a few. Two that I can remember now are the Black Panther and Doctor Strange. think the chances are they both will be made into movies, and I understand somebody's working on Ant-Man.
In the hat, right here.
You recently worked with the NHL with the Guardians project. Can you explain that experience and what it was working with those guys?
You recently worked with the NHL and the Guardians project?
Oh yeah, we're. This is such a big thing. I'm nervous about it, but we have a deal with the NHL, the National Hockey League, for those of you who aren't with it. And I worked on creating 30 different superheroes, one for each of the National Hockey League teams. And they're going to promote the hell out of this, and it's going to be a very big thing. And I'm responsible for 30 superheroes that different people are going to be writing and drawing, and if they're good, it'll be great. If they're not, I'm going to get the blame. But it'll be a very big project. And they had one hockey game to launch it just recently in L.A., and they had this big screen that they have, you know, in arenas. And they had all the characters flashed on the screen, and the audience went crazy. And they had me drive what they call the Zamboni. They let me drive with the Zamboni driver, and I waved to the crowd. And they were waving back, and they didn't know who the hell I was. Some guy waving at them, so they waved back. So anyway, that's what it's going to be.
Lightning!
The girl said that.
My dad's been a big fan of yours since he was my age, and he kept me here. He really wants to know, what is your proudest superhero dream?
And that is a big fan of yours. And she wants to know what is the character you're most proud of? Is that what you guys think?
Oh, gee, I'm proud of all of them. All the way from Irving Forbush to... No, well, I guess I'm certainly proud of Spider-Man because he's become the most popular and the most famous of all of them around the world. But I do love all of them. I love the Fantastic Four. I love Daredevil. The movie wasn't a huge hit, but I really like that character. I certainly like the X-Men, and you know, I could just name all of them. I love everything I've ever done.
Right there with the hat and glasses. Yes.
I just wanted to say, as a writer myself, you're a huge influence on me. What's your relationship today with Steve Ditko?
So it's a huge inspiration. I'd like to know if you still have a relationship with Steve Ditko.
Well, I don't see Steve, but nobody sees Steve.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a hermit, but we're still friendly. I mean, I met him at the office a few years ago, and we even discussed maybe working on a script together. I said, why don't we do, just for fun, why don't we do another Spider-Man or a new Doctor Strange? And he said he didn't want to do those. He said anything else. And I couldn't think of anything else at the moment, so we ended up not doing anything. But I don't understand Steve Ditko. He's a little bit of a hermit. He doesn't want to do interviews. He doesn't want people to take photos of him. But he's nice enough. You talk to him. He's a mystery to me, an enigma wrapped inside of a riddle.
All the way at the end in that crazy suit. Yes, sure.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
You would like to do a classic fight scene.
Okay, make it quick. Make it quick.
What's he
We
doing?
want to do a classic fight scene. Go ahead.
How did you come up with Peter Parker's character? Did you base it off someone you know, or maybe yourself?
How did I come up with what?
Did you base it on somebody you know?
Oh, no. What happened was, I hate teenage sidekicks. I hated Bucky Barnes in Captain America. I hated Robin in Batman. I always felt if I were a superhero, there's no way on earth I would go around with some teenager. I mean, at the very least, people would talk. So, for some reason, I don't know what made me decide, but I wanted something different with Spider-Man. And I thought, just for fun, I'm going to make him a teenager, but I'm going to make him the kind of teenager that really exists in the world. He's not the handsomest guy in the world. He's not that successful with girls. He doesn't have enough money. He's not that popular. He has trouble worrying about his family. His aunt is always sick and in trouble. A typical teenager that life is pretty lousy for. And just the opposite of a Robin, the boy wonder. And that's how you came to be. And look how nicely you developed. The other guy I had nothing to do with. Thank you, guys.
Hi. When they make a movie about you, who would you want to play you?
What actor would you like to play you?
Well, there's nobody really good enough at the moment. He'd be the closest. Downey Jr. He's also a great guy. The funny thing is, they are, believe it or not, they've done a documentary about me. And they just haven't, I haven't died yet, so they don't know how to end it. But it's very funny. I mean, it's a whole damn feature-length documentary, and they're starting to take it around now to find a distributor. We'll see what will happen next. I'm embarrassed by it.
Who would buy that documentary? There's no excuse for you not to buy his comics as well. In the white shirt.
Are there any characters that you hate or are jealous for not creating?
Any characters you hate or jealous that you didn't create?
Oh, yeah, Wolverine. I should have created Wolverine. And Deadpool, I should have created. Woo! And I don't know why I didn't create Batman. I could have done that. No, sure, you know, when you're a writer, anything that anybody else writes that's successful, you wish you had written it. So I wish I wrote I don't know how I missed out on War and Peace either.
With the hat right there.
Hi, me and my twin are true believers, and my question is, now that you reached celebrity status, was there any celebrity you got to work with where you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm working with this person?
Yeah, believe it or not, him I heard. Well, I've met a lot of celebrities. I don't know how many I've worked with. I got friendly with Hugh Hefner. He's sort of, a poor man's imitation of. I didn't hear
anyone that you were really wowed when you met them.
Well, I'm wowed when I meet anybody. I mean, I'm like anyone else. You know, if I meet some actor or some writer or some artist that I've read about or heard about or liked, I'm always impressed. When I met Roger Corman, the director and producer of those old movies years ago, I met Steven Spielberg. That was a thrill. He said a great thing to me, to be serious for a moment. He said, you know, Stan, you and I, this was years ago, you and I do the same thing, except my pictures move. And I never forgot that. I thought that was kind of a nice thing to say. Because I don't really, I mean, Steven Spielberg is here and I'm here. For him to say that, it was pretty I've met a lot of people. I can't remember all of them now. I'll tell you a funny thing. I met President Bush. He gave me an award. Now, there's an actress named, what is her name? The girl who always played with, what's her name? I can't remember. Anyway, some actress. She gave me.
She was beautiful.
Yeah, she was.
That's all.
He gave her an award, and he kissed her on the cheek. Then it got to be my turn, and I got up there, and he gave me the award, and I said to him, I'm not going to have to kiss you ever. And he started laughing, and I started laughing, and somebody took a picture of and we're both standing there going, and when you look at this picture, it's like me and my best friend. So I got a kick out of that. And I met Ronald Reagan. We were having some kind of a dinner, and it just happened, I'm sitting here, and